stay a while and listen.
We are back with the AOP podcast. This week we cannot be contained by the construct of the weekends, and we are early.
Yes, the power of the weekend cannot hold us down.
We flew in from parts unknown. I was going to try for like an Ultimate Warrior rant, but I don't have that kind of energy right now.
So my name is Saul, and this is... That's right. I reversed it. I did the opener this week.
Yes, I am Ross. Yeah, I was too busy thinking, like, I was behind a Toyota Tacoma yesterday that had a Ultimate Warrior sticker on it.
Yeah.
On my way home. I think that's why the parts unknown popped into my mind. But yeah. So we're a few days early, but that way we make sure we actually get the episode out and I don't, like, collapse. So...
Are you going to release it this like today?
Probably.
On a Thursday?
Well, there's a good chance it's going to be today or tomorrow, but you'll probably hear this today on Thursday, just so I don't have to deal with it on Friday, because I'm back to work for a day before I get my weekend off. So,
gotcha. So Ross, I want to talk to you about a weirdo.
Well, now, are we talking? So we kind of joked about this because you mentioned something, and I was like, "Well, that guy's a weirdo," and I was like, "Well, we're all weirdos." And
yeah,
I think the older you get, the more you realize you're like, "Oh, not everybody thinks this way about this thing or that," and you realize you have some weird tendencies. But there's like harmless weirdo, malicious weirdo that doesn't really understand they're a weirdo.
I would say this person falls in along the line of harmless. I don't think he's going to hurt anybody, and he doesn't know that he's a weirdo.
Okay, so
I mean, wait, would you agree with this statement?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. All right. So I come into work this morning, and I sit down. And that's you know me. I don't normally talk to people. I'm waking up. So this guy comes in, and he's like, "How's it going, guys?" You know, his annoying chipper self in the morning.
Well,
and I was like,
Now I'm going to add some commentary as this goes on. Most people at any job, there's the overly excited morning person that only really bothers people like you, whereas people like me are just like, and that's the end of it. But you're just like, go away. So, but it's that guy. It's the probably on his third cup of coffee, but he still has one in his hand, and he's just he's trying to like energize everybody. It's one of those deals. So, okay.
So he comes in and he's wearing like a cut off T-shirt type thing.
Like
sleeveless, showing the guns, huh?
Like sleeveless.
Sleeveless, yeah.
Does he shop at Kohl's? Because I might understand that.
Well, I think he was maybe changing in the shirts on the way. I don't know. It didn't look like he was. It didn't look like he showed up on purpose like that. I think he was in mid change of his clothes because he had his shirt in his.
Because it'd be like you. I mean, that happens to me a lot in the morning. I'm changing from my one shirt to the other, and then I accidentally get in my car and drive to work.
Yeah.
Whoops.
Yeah, it's not like he showed up with shirtless and his legs was flexing or anything. It was nothing like that.
Right.
But the reason I say that is because he started rubbing his arms. He's like, "Yeah, I had a rough night last night. I was playing softball until 11:30 at night." And
it's pretty late.
The other guys were like, "Okay." Like, we don't know what you want us to do with that. And
right.
he's like, "Oh yeah, you play any softball?" I'm like, I was like, no, I do not. He's like, you should. He's like, you looks like you lost a lot of weight here lately. I'm like, well, yeah, I have. He's like, I think you could hit some balls really far. And I was like, and I'm thinking, this is 8:30 in the morning. What? Why are you talking about softball to me? Because you know I'm not a morning person. And I'm just like,
I love the idea because, like, I would talk to you about work stuff or occasionally try to drag some stuff out of you here and there. The idea of first thing in the morning to come in and try to convince you to play softball is fantastic.
Yes. And I'm just like, I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, he's like my softball team. We need some players, and he's like, I think you'd be really good. I think you could hit us some home runs. So he's like just like talking me up. I was like, no, I don't think so. And he's like, really? He's like, I think you. He's like, I think that might be your hidden talent. I was like, I'm thinking, what the hell are you talking about? Leave me alone.
Well, I know you love the running part probably too.
I was like, what?
Now, to be fair, I would agree that you would, your natural strength, you would probably crush the ball.
Okay.
I would agree with that. But when I think of like teams,
yeah,
I don't see you like. I'm not like, we need a strong team player. I'm gonna get Saul.
Yeah, I'm just like.
Now, if I had a small team of like 3 or 4 people, I'd be like, Saul would be good, assuming the other people are compatible. But large team, no.
I'm just like, and like I said, it was nothing malicious. I mean, it wasn't like insulting me. Like I said, he was actually talking me up. But I'm just like, you're a weirdo, man. Why are you talking to me?
Why are you trying to recruit me for your softball team?
First thing in the morning, like the first, not even conversation, like, hey, how's everyone's night? Or hey,
maybe he thinks that
I had a rough night last night. Like, what a weirdo.
Maybe he thinks your brain's not working. Like, not that you just don't like mornings, but maybe he thinks that your brain just doesn't work. So it's like you'd always hear stories about guys or girls getting like someone they were interested in drunk at the bar and try to take advantage of them. Maybe he thought he could coerce you into softball without you realizing what you were agreeing to.
I don't know, man. This is a weird encounter.
That's why Adam Page always has a backup contract written out. So when you get into those, you can switcheroo it, and then all of a sudden he's on your softball team that you just started, and he's the only other person.
I don't know, man. It's just...
And then you get all his quarter one earnings from the rug shop.
He's not a malicious person. He's just a weirdo. I don't know.
Yeah, well, it's because it comes up all the time, like knowing your audience, kinda, and I just can't. Granted, I've known you a long time, but I just can't see having been around you for any period of time, like, because he was going through like the passive aggressive thing, and this was probably just like normal conversation to him. But would you actually, like, because non-morning people can have talks like that.
Sure.
But again, knowing your audience, all of us, I'd be like, I'm going to try to convince him to play softball.
Yes.
Not to say that something like that, if I hadn't, like, talked to you a ton in the morning for the last, like, week or two, I might try something like that, but I'd be cracking up the whole time because I would realize how ridiculous what I was doing is.
Well, and then this, and then we can get on to your week. This other kid that works at the place where where you used to work. He's like, man, I could just punt this because we was talking about kicking footballs.
Yeah. And
he's like, I could probably kick a 60-yard punt.
What?
No, you can't.
So wait, we'll back up a little bit here because me and you, we're going on like 7 years. We eventually need to do it, but I was saying that I could punt a football 20 yards.
Yeah. Well,
I am not a
saying
skilled
60.
punter,
And,
but I feel 20 yards is an achievable thing. I don't think that's insane. A 60-yard punt. Now, granted, like an NFL punter, if they're just going for distance, they can probably cover the field. I feel like a 60-yard punt is really ambitious. Like, that's really far.
So I mean, we measured it out and everything. Like, let's just do 40. So we measured out 40 and everything, and I actually went out and went to Play It Again Sports, bought some a football.
Yeah.
And he goes up and tries to kick this football, man. And
now you're talking like punt, like where you hold it, drop it, kick it, right?
Yeah. Straight first prop goes straight up in the air, and I'm just looking at him like, yeah.
All right, brother, you did not get 60 yards straight up either, so.
Next punt he does, I don't know. I mean, he does kick it far. He doesn't kick it 40 yards.
Yeah.
But he goes out. He's like, ah, and he starts grabbing his shoulder. I was like, "You all right?" I pulled a muscle on my shoulder. I was like, "Oh, how in the world do you pull a muscle on your shoulder by kicking a football?" I don't know.
Well, I can't really criticize him for that. I've woken up and wasn't able to move my arm for 2 months, so.
Well, I was cracking up. I was like, NFL kickers can kick more than 2 balls.
Yeah.
This is funny.
It's funny. So the same guy, and I think I'm only going to give him a hard time about this. I gave it, like, when he told me about it, I gave him a hard time. He's a younger guy, but it's stuff we've all done as we get older, and like you see it now and it's like more obvious, but I guess he plays basketball some or something like that. And he's like, I'm getting old. And I was like, what do you mean? He was like, well, I played basketball yesterday. And I guess he played for like hours. And then he was talking about like how beat up and sore he felt. And I was like, looking, and I was like, you think that's age? And he's like, well, it's gotta be. And I was like, when was the last time you played basketball? And he's like, oh, it's been years.
Yeah.
And
well, he doesn't want to admit that he's out of shape.
Well, right. And I was like, do you think it's less age and more that you're just not used to the move? Because like, I don't care for basketball, but it is probably one of the most athletic sports based on endurance, like hand-eye coordination, skill, all that. So to not play basketball for a long time and then do it, it is going to probably kick your butt. And I was trying to explain to him, like, it's not necessarily that you're old, it's that you're not conditioned for it. I was trying not to say out of shape, but it's like, that's what it is.
I was just saying that. I was just saying, you're out of shape, dude. And he's like, I'm 23 years old. I was like, so that doesn't mean anything. I was like, you're out of shape.
You could be like 18 and out of shape.
Yeah. I don't know. His brain doesn't think that way, I guess.
It's a good time.
So in case,
I do kind of miss working with him. He entertained me greatly.
So how's your week been?
So had like a memorial service that I went to beginning of the week. Someone passed away, somewhat unexpected, but not unexpected kind of deal.
Okay.
Like, I mean, it was a surprise to me. It was someone that so it was a friend's mom, essentially. And like growing up, like early part of high school, late part of elementary school, like compared to my birth mother, she was more of a mother to me than her.
Okay.
So, it was an important person in my life. It's one of those, I guess enough people have died that it doesn't, I don't know how to put it, like, I don't know, because, so for me, like when I was like 16, my grandma, who was like my real mom, died. And then here in the last like few years, like pretty much everyone else has kind of passed on. And my emotional reaction to it isn't as like, I don't know if getting used to it is correct, but it's more like I'm old enough that I've seen, well, that's part of life, and it's very unfortunate, and I'm sad, but it doesn't tear me up the same way.
Okay.
If that makes any sense. Because basically, like, all grandparents are dead. The two people that were essentially my mom and dad are dead. Like, I'm only 40, so I feel in a way where it's like, that's a lot of people dead compared to everyone else I know, where an awful lot of, like, maybe one person's died. So I don't know. It was like surreal in a way, because I don't know. I definitely had like a strong reaction when I found out about the news, but it kind of normalized pretty quick. And then you see someone who hasn't had quite that to deal with, and it's like, man, death is kind of sucks. Like the emotional, like the toll it takes on the people around them.
Yeah.
So other than that, I've just done like work and stuff like that. I did win at my job some kind of smoothie maker. Like, it's the single cup smoothie maker thing.
Yeah.
I don't know, or it's like, it's got the cup and you got the blade attachment, and you take that off and you take the blade off and you put a lid on it.
Yeah.
So I won one of those. So I'm kind of excited about that. What's that?
It's a little bit more uplifting.
Yes. That's what I do. I try to level things out. I don't want too much joy out there. The higher up you are, the further you have to fall. That's not actually how I feel about it. How awful would that be if that was actually like, I don't want to bring anybody up too high. All right.
It's my Eeyore.
Yep. Be like, every time I think about that, the guy wasn't a guy I worked with. It's a secondhand work, but like, how you doing? Worse than yesterday, not as bad as tomorrow. Like, dude. Go see a doctor, please, or somebody. Do something.
Take a pill or talk to some people.
Yeah.
Get some joy in your life, man.
All right. So, what do you want to talk about today? Now that we've talked about
Now
nonsensical real life stuff, you want to talk about softball?
No, let's talk about guys in underwear there.
Oh, I love dudes in underwear.
Why did Britt take her shoe off to eat that sandwich?
All right. You want to go, because we got all kinds of stuff happened. Revolution and Dynamite.
Yeah.
You want to talk about the barbed wire exploding rope, totally not an exploding ring match?
Yeah. I mean, I thought the match was good.
Yeah.
All the way up until the end.
What I would love to know, what pyrotechnics were supposed to go off?
Yeah.
Cause it sucks, because like Eddie Kingston coming out and everything was, I didn't even think about that for a second of something like that happening. So it's like, oh, okay, that's really good. You have to assume clearly that was the way that Moxley was going to be written off.
Yes.
And possibly Kingston for a little while. And that's all messed up.
Yeah. So I think they're like, okay, we'll come back to try to do something there.
Be like, all right, we'll do another couple weeks to get me written off properly here.
Well, what made it worse? What made it bad for me is that the announcers were like, "Oh, the heat from the." I was like, "Dude, guys, you're making it worse."
The thing is, like, if you're in that situation, like, what do you do though? Because you're like, well, this is what's supposed to happen. Are we just gonna like roll with this, or do we need to be like, oh, there was a malfunction?
Well, and and they set it up pretty good without them knowing it. I think with Kenny Omega, supposedly building it.
Yeah.
So you could just play it off like Kenny's an idiot.
Right.
Doesn't know how to build bombs.
Right. When it comes to like Dynamite and stuff like that, they kind of work on it. I did like at the end where Moxley, I guess, did his the extra promo at the end of the show, where he's like, Kenny Omega is a tough dude, but he sure can't build an exploding ring.
Yeah. So I think they recovered from it.
Well, so the funny thing is, out of the exploding ring matches, it seems like there is a failure at least 30% of the time for the big explosion. Because it happened to like Cactus Jack and Funk, I think. It happened multiple times in ECW. I believe there's other ones where it's just gone wrong. So I've never... It's just an over-the-top thing. Like, that match didn't need a big ring explosion except to write Moxley off. Because, like, even the explosions on the ropes, like, they weren't, like, the most amazing thing ever, but it looked cool.
Sure.
I liked where he threw his foot on the rope to break up the One-Wing Angel.
Yeah.
I thought... Because he hit that, and I was like, there's no way Moxley's going to kick out of this. What are they going to do? I was like, is it time for the ring to blow up? Like, I thought that's how he was, like the ring would blow up. And then I was like, well, that's actually really clever.
I agree with what Scott Hall said. It gets to the point of you kind of, when you say that you're going to do something in wrestling, everyone knows it's fake. When you go to the levels of like, I'm going to kill you. Well, you're not going to kill me because you be put in jail. So I think it just takes me out of my immersion. I'm like, I'm not really going to blow up.
Right.
So I don't know.
Well, I mean, I think they'll, like you said, I'm not, now, if you're anti AEW for whatever reason.
Oh, sure.
Like, again, I get it. There's that hamburger stand down the street where the guy loves hamburgers and he started a wrestling or a hamburger store like a Mark for hamburgers. So I refuse to eat there, and I just hope for the day that they get a health violation so I can go to the front door and be like, you money mark for hamburgers?
Well, yeah, I mean, if you are a John Cena, like tattoos all over your body, and Vince McMahon can do no wrong, I mean, you're going to hate it regardless.
Yeah. But this gives them, like, I don't know, some of the comments I read, they were like, this is the end of AEW, and I was like, I have seen so much worse than that happen on every federation I've ever watched. And they've been fine.
Now, I was critical of AEW, like back in the spring and summer and fall.
Yeah.
And now I will only give Pandemic some of the credit for destroying a lot of the storylines because they were doing the best they could. But I mean, their storylines for the longest time I thought was garbage, and I think they're now getting good. So.
Well, Dynamite pays off a lot of stuff, so we'll talk about that a little bit when we get there.
Sure.
Let's go. Let's see. Maki Ito is in AEW now. Are you familiar with her at all? The girl that was Britt Baker's partner?
No.
I'm only moderately familiar with her. I do know that she has a nice, safe microphone jab based off Dynamite. Where she was just tapping, I think, Sheeta with it. But, like, I'll have to... I've never seen her matches or anything, but I know that people really like her. So I guess we'll see. But, yeah, there was, like, the Thunder Rosa Rio, Dr. Britt Baker match. So, the tag match with the Bucks and Jericho MJF.
Yeah.
It seems like that match was way better. Like, I expected it to be good, but it seemed like it was a lot better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah. I mean, I really didn't think that MJF and Jericho was going to win.
Right.
Just Well, I was hoping for them. They're not a tag team.
Right.
So I was like, please don't let these guys win because I hate that.
Well, did you like that a lot of the story, like Jericho and MJF kept bringing that up, that how's it going to feel to get beat by two singles wrestlers?
Sure.
Like they actually acknowledged and tried, like they tried to spin it as it was a benefit to them. So I do think, I mean, they've done this for them being AEW. Like when they have like a challenger for a title, and it's taken me a while to get used to it because it's frustrated me a few times. Usually if you get the title match and there's any build up to it, they really make it seem like there might be a title change.
Yeah.
Like TNT title is a good example. Like they've done pretty good with that. The world title is more like you kind of have an idea what to expect, but like the other belts, they actually build up the challenger to be credible. So when the champions win, it's actually kind of a big deal as opposed to being like, well, yeah, they should have won. Like now it's like, oh, they actually defended it here. And like years that like you didn't 100%, like, you know, you're pretty sure the Bucks weren't going to lose it, but they at least like built up a strong case that Jericho and MJF, if they won, you would have been like kind of surprised, but it seemed possible at least. I don't know. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay. So let's see here. But yeah, no implosion or anything. I thought something for sure would happen at the pay-per-view. So the Casino Tag Team Royal Rumble, there's just craziness.
I really was off and on watching this one. I really didn't care.
Yeah, I couldn't really get into it. It was nice to see they let Phoenix be the one to win it for the team.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, Phoenix is really good, so it feels like he's getting a little bit of a shove here. A little more showcase where he's winning some stuff.
It bugs me that Pac and Ray Phoenix are a tag team for some reason.
Well, I mean, they're part of the same faction, and Phoenix is going the single, or not Phoenix, Penta is doing the singles route.
I guess. It bugged me. I
don't know. People were like...
I like my Lucha Bros being Lucha Bros. I don't like
but they're both...
themselves, but that's
like,
just my taste. So.
The thing is, though, like, with Phoenix, like, all three of them are so good singles, even, that you're going to get, like, a Phoenix single run at some point, I'm sure. But, yeah. Now, it is weird, like, where it's like, oh, that's the actual tag team, but they're split up weird. Like, yeah, it's definitely strange, but I'm okay with it, because I remember, like, a month or two ago where it was like, man, why is Pentagon not getting, like, something? Because he's so good. And now, like, then Ray Phoenix is getting it, and it's like, all right, we're going to do it, but it's going to be weird. Like, all right. We get some Paul White action backstage. Shida and Mizunami beat the Jesus out of each other. Like, is basically what happened. Excalibur tried to put over, like, where she had told Shida that she would never beat her in 100 years or something like that, and that she had never been able to. So he hyped that up enough for me that her kicking out of the knee so many times, like, it didn't bother me the way it was built. But I really liked the match.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was all right.
Now, I assume this might have been your favorite part of the show, where Alex Marvez teleports to the backstage to talk to Chuck Taylor and Orange Cassidy, and Miro and Kip just jump them before they could even start the match.
Yes. I like the fact, because I was a little worried about Miro, but I think they're going to make him a psychopath.
Yes.
He's going to be, it looks like he's going to be beating up everybody.
It's only a matter of time before he destroys Kip.
Yeah.
Like this is pretty much what I thought it would be, where I kind of figured Miro and Kip would win it.
Yeah.
They made, like, it's crazy to me because I always think back when Miro was Rusev and he was like the monster or whatever, but he had a feud with Jack Swagger at the time. And I was like, I didn't really care for Rusev because I was like, it's just the big guy that he's going to be dancing in like 6 months' time. And because he was unstoppable, so it was like, he's going to be so screwed at some point, which did turn out to be true. But Swagger was doing like the ankle lock at the time and had worked on Rusev's legs here and there. And the way he sold the ankle, even though he was like supposed to be going over kind of dominant, like the sell job he did for the ankle for Swagger and still looked like a beast out of it, like that particular little feud totally changed my opinion of Rusev because I was like, he is really good. Like it was one of those, like when I see somebody sell a back, like they've had a back, like who's clearly had a back injury or an ankle or whatever, like I like that's one of the things that drew me to Kingston other than the talking was the way he was selling like his leg in the one match looked very believable. So I like that. But yeah, basically Miro kind of used Penelope as a weapon in a way.
Yes.
And then they get the win. So were you delighted to see Chuck Taylor tap out?
Yes.
Let's see. So we got Hangman and Big Money Matt.
Yeah.
I love Big Money Matt Hardy. Which I never thought I would say. But the particular character I feel works really good for just being a generic bad guy almost.
Yeah.
I
agree with that. It's taken a while for me to grow for me to kind of like him.
Yeah.
But I think the broken Matt Hardy needs live audience people.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Because if not, it just seems like it's an idiot.
Right. Yeah, you just seem like seems like a madman, but a different type of madman.
Yeah.
Like when there's almost nobody there that you're like screaming it to.
Yeah.
So this match overall, I really liked. I saw a lot of people thought it went on a little bit long, but it was supposed to be like, I could definitely see shaving some minutes off of it, with hindsight, but I thought this was one of Matt Hardy's better matches in a long time.
Sure. He didn't get hurt.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Like, there was no like disaster that happened or anything like that. It was just like a straightforward match. They had a moment there where I thought Hardy was going to win it. Just because, again, like we had talked like on our little predictions for it, that there's a lot of stories of Hangman not having money that works for that character, but there's also a lot of stories for Hangman finally being happy.
Yeah.
So he used the power of friendship at the end here to defeat Matt Hardy.
Yes.
He now has his lawnmower, we have found out.
Yeah.
Were you...
His lawnmower and the Dark Order, they're just going to have a great old time mowing grass, I guess.
Well, they're going to ride that mower into battle. Like a charge at some point. It's going to be great.
Like you said, I hope he does like what Stone Cold did back in the day.
Yeah, just like a different mower.
John Deere's and stuff.
It would be awesome. So people joked about the Dark Order, like Mario Kart, but Dark Order Racing or something like that.
Yeah.
It would be fantastic if he bought them all lawnmowers and they actually developed that as like a mobile game.
Yeah.
Where they're just racing around on lawnmowers. I want to talk about, like, because he shows up with the mower on Dynamite, and I want to talk about that, but let's get through Revolution first, because I just was cracking up when he shows up with that. So they did the face of the Sonic ring ladder match. Like, when you saw that ring, did you think of Sonic the Hedgehog immediately?
Yeah. Now that you say it, I thought of that. At first, I thought it was a hemorrhoid cushion thing.
the donuts cushion.
Yes. Yeah. But now that you say the Sonic the Hedgehog, yeah, I can see that too.
That's what I thought, just the way it looked. I was listening to Scorpio Sky's podcast. I guess that thing's like 30 pounds. Because people were asking, like, are you going to keep that like a trophy? And he was like, I'm not walking through the airport with this. So we ended up...
Like, why do you have this 30-pound
hemorrhoid pillow? What is this? So Ethan Page was the mystery man, which I think a lot of people predicted.
I don't even know who this guy is.
I'm not familiar with him very much at all. I do like that I assume his finisher is the pick you up for kind of a power bomb and just throw you really far.
That's right, Razor's Edge, baby. Sort of. Sort
yeah,
of
it's like it's almost that. It looks cool, like because he used it on Dynamite. Any move where you're just throwing them kind of like a power bomb, I'm kind of partial to. So,
sure.
This match was pretty crazy. It did not enthrall me by any means.
No, because Cody, I didn't understand what Cody was doing. I'm just like,
I kept waiting for something shady to happen, like for Cody to cheat.
Sure. I don't know. Cody kind of took me out. I'm like, well, what are you doing?
Well, yeah, because like I've spent more time like watching the tunnel where he was pacing around than what was going on, because I kept waiting for something to happen.
I don't know. I just don't think it was needed to tell a story that his shoulder. I don't know. I'm like, this is kind of stupid.
Yeah, I don't understand unless he's getting written off as well for a while, and they're going to use Penta to do that.
It could be.
Like he does like the arm thing.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. Maybe the long storytelling AEW does like to do.
Right.
He's going to break his arm.
The Max Caster has grown on me more. Super surprised to me.
I often wonder if Cody wanted to be a bad guy with the whole Brody Lee thing.
Yeah.
But they knew that Brody Lee's health was going down, so maybe that's why you're like, okay, do it now. Yeah,
like now's not the time. We're gonna need like maybe they were gonna do like a flip flop kind of deal.
Yeah, so maybe now with Penta, maybe they're gonna do that. I don't know.
Right. I mean, yeah. I mean, there has to be some plans that were totally messed up as a result of everything. Like, I'm pretty sure Hangman was going to be feuding with Brody Lee.
Yeah.
Or something was going to go on with that, and now it's kind of been changed.
Sure.
So there's just all kinds of crazy stuff that was going on in this match. The big thing is Scorpio Sky won.
Yeah.
So I was happy for him, which leads to some more stuff on Dynamite. We get our mystery reveal, which is Christian Cage.
Yep.
He found a last name. AEW gave it back to him.
Yes.
Now, I don't dislike Christian, but I've never been like a huge Christian fan. Do you care about Christian? I guess would be the question.
Like you said, I don't hate him like I do the best friends, but
right. Well, I mean,
he's just.
It's a pretty on-off scale if it's compared to best friends.
Well, I mean,
that's what we're going to be like on a scale of best friends or anything else on Earth. Where does this rate for you?
I thought him and Edge in the Brood was all right.
Yeah.
And when he did their own thing.
Did you follow any of his TNA stuff?
No, but just because it was on TNA.
Right. Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. I've heard a lot of people say that it was some of his best work. So,
sure.
I know some people were upset because I don't know who they thought it was going to be out of the people that were available.
Yeah.
Because some people convinced themselves it was going to be CM Punk, and then like we were talking like maybe a New Japan person.
Yeah.
I still don't think Christian is the most exciting thing ever, but it is kind of a big deal in the sense, I mean, he was literally just at the Royal Rumble, and now he signed with a different company. So,
yeah.
But I mean, he looked good in the Rumble, so it sounds like he's got some years on his body to actually be like a full-on wrestler. So we'll see how it goes.
Well, it's funny because people thought that it was going to be like John Cena, and I've heard some were saying The Rock. I was like,
no.
Those guys are not going to leave because they're doing Hollywood stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I would be if it was John Cena. That would have been crazy.
Sure.
But yeah, you're not going to get something like that, I don't think. And you're not going to keep something like that quiet, I wouldn't think. Like, it seems like that'd be really hard to keep quiet for someone that big of a celebrity. Like, someone would find out and say something, I would think. Or you'd have heard like legitimate rumblings, kind of like you did about Sting here and there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so not the most exciting thing in the whole world, but I mean, you have like a veteran who, from listening to him talk, kind of wants to be involved and help people. So probably a good thing overall. I just wish he would stop using the kill switch as a finisher. I hate that move.
Yeah,
it is one of the worst moves in pro wrestling, I'm pretty sure. All right, we got our cinematic match, the street fight with Sting and Darby against Taz and Ricky Starks. How'd you like this?
Good. I thought it was good.
How did you feel?
It was a cool intro with all of them, actually.
Yeah, like they got like movie style intro. Darby skitching on the truck to show up. I don't know, like some people were bothered. How do you feel about the commentary?
I didn't notice the commentary, actually.
Like some people, because like the Boneyard match with Taker and Styles, they didn't do like a commentary. They just let it play out. But with this, they actually had like live commentary, like it was a match that was happening live. So that you didn't really care one way or the other on it?
I mean, I didn't notice it.
Okay. Yeah, you weren't like, well, why are they doing this? I kind of noticed it just because of comparing it to like the Boneyard match, I would say, is the closest thing. Because I personally, the deletion matches are great, but the Boneyard match, I think, stepped up like quality and everything pretty good. So this felt more in vein with that. The commentary, so I noticed it, but I was like, well, it makes sense that they're going to do something different. But it was weird that there was background music to it as well, and commentary. Like, I definitely now the people were like, it kind of took me out of it. I get it. Now the people were like, it ruined it. It made it the worst thing ever. Be like, I disagree with that. But I can see like it kind of taking some getting used to.
I mean, because the Boneyard match was all right. I didn't think it was bad. I didn't think it was the greatest thing ever either, because I like more of the wrestling ish type stuff. So I mean, I don't know. It was what it was. To me, it was the same level as the Boneyard match.
Okay. But yeah, I mean, this thing, if you didn't watch the pay-per-view, or if you only kind of watch AEW and then you're listening to our podcast for some reason, check this thing out if you can find it somewhere to watch. There's some really cool spots into it. They made Sting look awesome. Honestly, everybody looks pretty good overall. I mean, the bad guys are bad guys.
I just thought it was funny. I was laughing every time that Darby got through glass or through a table, or I'm sure Darby was like, all right, I want to take the most beating in this match.
Yeah. There's the one, like, he goes through this, like, the old wooden framed window pane.
Yes.
It's like, oh man, that looked brutal. Now, he wasn't covered in blood, which I was kind of expecting. But you could theoretically fall through that and not get cut up super bad, I suppose. And the lighting, it would be hard to tell if there's like little cuts. But yeah, they did like some, like you said, like the intros I thought were really cool. They had some camera cuts that I definitely like. There's one where they do like a camera, I don't know what the actual term, it's almost like a flyover, because they had like this channel from like where the ring is to like one of the other areas they fight at, and it does like the long zoom pan kind of deal from one to the other. I was like, that's a little bit much, but it did look really cool. So end result
Overall
of this one was Darby elbow drops Cage 100 stories to the center of the earth, I assume. Because like they were on like the first floor of a factory, but there's just a pit that goes somewhere. So how deep is it? I don't know. But that's where they were. So Hook and Hobbs show up. Just the reality of this is pretty much everyone involved in this is like a white or lighter skinned person except for Will Hobbs. Will Hobbs comes out wearing a mask with sleeveless shirt and everything else. It's like, what is the point? Like, we know that he is associated with like, and he's enormous. And I was just like, what is the point of this bright orange mask? Like, it was just weird. Like, was it supposed to be like, oh no, random thugs have shown up?
Yes.
I mean, to be fair, Team Taz was outnumbered because there was like 47 Sting masks.
I don't know. Sting and Darby's accolades there were kind of.
What did you think of where, like, because Darby does the half face paint, but then he did the other half, like him and Sting like merged the face paint?
Yeah.
Do you think that was cool?
Yeah, I thought it was cool.
I thought it was a good touch.
Yeah, I liked how it ended. It was neat. It was dirty. Warehouse. It was cool.
Yeah. Well, when they said street fight, I mean, do you feel that they lived up to a street fight?
Yeah.
That ends with a pinfall.
Yes. Pinfall.
So when it's over, do you feel that Ricky Starks has been buried by losing to Sting in his return match?
No.
Okay. I do not either. Because, I mean, this whole thing has basically been about building up Darby is what it feels like to me. And then we were talking a little bit on this before the show, but one of the things I was thinking, I don't think I said this, was so they're clearly building Darby to be like a big deal. And if you're building someone to be a big deal, they need to start beating people and doing big things. It's not Ricky Starks' time right now. Him losing to Sting doesn't hurt. Like, obviously you're going to do more with Sting, I would assume. He's going out putting someone over, I would assume. But one of the things that WWE never does is never commits to anybody anymore, for the most part, to make them into a big deal.
Yeah.
And this, at times, this is what committing to somebody to make them a big deal is somebody's got to be at least remotely relevant that they're beating. So while it sucks for Team Taz, because they've kind of been everybody's whipping boy, like in this case, like, yeah, Sting got the pin and not Darby, but Darby looked real strong. He's got the association with Taz. I mean, Darby comes out way better for this. I don't think, like, Team Taz as a unit is like, yeah, well, they couldn't beat Sting and Darby, which I don't think really hurts them a ton, but maybe they have like a little bit of a blemish from where they started at. But the thing is, Darby and Sting are a much bigger deal to me now, because like, Sting looked good in this. I assume that's why they did the cinematic, is to make him look as strong as possible.
Yeah.
But all right, and we already talked about the exploding barbed wire match. The couple things that happened So you said you liked Dynamite this week?
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
So let's see. Let's skim through this here because I watched it. Matt Jackson and Phoenix. Phoenix gets the win. I was pleased with that because, again, good for Phoenix. We get the Eddie Kingston, John Moxley talking, and Eddie explaining why he had like the reaction he did to the sparklers, basically.
Yes.
Did that do a good job? Like, obviously it's a bit of a stretch, but did that do enough to satisfy you to be like, okay, they've addressed it and they're moving on?
Yeah, I thought they explained it pretty good.
Yeah. And I mean, what he said is like a legitimate thing where if something puts you in a weird space, it's going to cause you some problems.
Sure.
So let's see here. Yeah, so we got the Cody thing, and this is where we find out they're like, you know, the arm being messed up and him. I like that Penta called him out and uses Alex as the translator, but then decides to just talk in English at one point and then goes back to talk. Like, I was just entertained by that whole thing.
Yeah, it was good.
Also, that even in street clothes, Penta still paints his face to go with the mask. Like,
yes.
That's going to be exhausting. We're getting a I don't know what they're going to call it, but we're getting a game over match where instead of lumberjacks, we're going to have our arcade games around the ring.
Yeah.
But
I don't know how that's going to go down.
I don't either, but I'm interested because Charles Taylor was saying that if they lose, he's going to join Miro.
Yeah.
That makes me think that Kip is going to cost them the match, and Miro is going to destroy Kip.
Yeah, could be.
And then just proceed to be like a beast on his own now that he's kind of established himself as something.
Yeah.
But you said, like, when we were talking about Revolution, like, you feel pleased with Miro's progression from a character standpoint?
Yeah. I think they've done a lot from what WWE did.
Right. Well, he ended... Well, I think you were the one who pointed it out to me that there was something like Tony Khan had said. He was like, well, yeah, we're not getting Miro who's riding a tank. We were getting Miro in a bizarre wedding angle is who we got.
Yeah.
It's not the same kind of thing. So it took them some time to like kind of build him back up. But,
yeah.
I mean, also the fact, like, Miro looks like he could kill you. So
yeah, he's a beast.
All you got to do is let him be mean and win, and it rebuilds his credibility really quick. So Sting had a segment. I assume it's the Sting segment now, where it's Sting stands on stage and then you come out and interrupt whatever he's doing.
Yes.
Because that's all that happens. Lance Archer and Jake Roberts are just weirdos. I'm waiting for Jake to have like a hooded sweat jacket that's like a cobra hood and just like make snake sounds one day.
I was hoping that Sting would be like, what are you wearing?
There's going to be a day where like probably Ricky Starks will be the one to call him out.
Yeah.
So we see Ethan Page has his singles match with Lee Johnson where he does the big throw him move. Ego's Edge, I'm sorry, is what they're calling it, but it's definitely not like the traditional fall down with him. All right, so best segment of the show. Alex Marvez teleports to Hangman's front yard that looks an awful lot like the Jacksonville training facility, I assume. But Adam Page shows up on his riding lawnmower finally. So, is it weird to you? It's not weird to me that he's driving around on a riding lawnmower, because if you follow like pretty much any of the Being the Elite stuff, it was inevitable that one day he would have one. But he shows up in a dark purple cowboy shirt that's unbuttoned. Like, that's what I thought was weird, is that it's like the unbuttoned cowboy shirt riding around on a lawnmower indoors.
Sure.
He also bought like 13 bottles of whiskey and Dwight Yoakam catalog on vinyl.
Yes.
Then the Dark Order shows up, and with the exception of 5, they all jump on the lawnmower and just ride off.
About flip it.
Yeah. Yes. Someone was like, Colt saw where this thing was going, and he jumped off early.
Yes.
So, is Hangman wearing the purple, like, in an intentional thing that he's more part of the Dark Order, or he just happened to pick up a purple shirt that day?
No, I think that was his way of. I think that the pay-per-view, he kind of officially kind of joined them.
Right. Like, or is at least like they're his friends.
Yeah.
That actually come out and second him to the ring if need be when things get hairy, as opposed to the Young Bucks who are too busy to help poor Hangman when all he ever wanted was his friends to be there by his side. Young Bucks are bad guys. Pretty sure.
Sure.
But yeah, so also they drove off on the lawnmower. I forgot about this until I just read it here, to get ice cream. Like, I just don't understand. I just looked.
Make a good act.
It, like, I don't know how. So when crowds come back, like, because we're getting close, when there's like the first full arena show, do you think like it's going to be Hangman who gets one of the biggest reactions, Dark Order in general, like somebody else? What do you think?
What do you mean?
Like, as far as if they send everybody out like on a live show, like as far as like crowd reacting for everybody, who do you think's probably going to get the biggest reaction?
I can see Dark Order and Hangman.
Yeah, like if they come out as like a unit kind of deal.
Yeah.
Because especially with like Silver with that, because I read through a thread where they were talking about it, and I was like, I kind of feel like there's the potential that Hangman really could be the person that everybody's behind now.
Yeah.
But I don't know, because like I'm wondering too if there's somebody that you think is going to be really liked and the crowd's just going to be like, nah, we don't like this guy. But I feel like everyone in AEW, like if they're supposed to be a good guy or a bad guy, like they're probably going to get the appropriate reaction.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Let's see. So Kenny Omega comes out being pretty crazy. Like basically saying that they possibly did it on purpose because they wanted to take away big moments from everybody. They wanted to take away Eddie Kingston's moment. They wanted to take away Moxley getting blown up and riding off into the sunset. They wanted to take the joy from the crowd.
The only thing that I got out of this was 69 me, Don. 69 me.
Well,
Kenny, what in the world?
I mean, he was just being a complete jerk to Kingston. Yeah. But like the thing is, like then Kingston actually gets to at least deck him. And, like Kenny sold it for quite a while before they started beating him up, and then Moxley makes the save. But I was kind of reminded of the old DX that you liked, where Shawn and Hunter would like mess with like Sergeant Slaughter or somebody. Like it felt kind of like that, where they were just being ridiculous.
It was very old school. I was thinking the same thing, like old school DX, Shawn Michaels and Hunter. Yeah,
something like that. Christian came out because basically Moxley and Kingston are going to fight the Good Brothers. Christian, it looks like, is going to have a match with Kenny, I would assume, from this. I'm curious how they'll make that work. Or if it was just showing that Christian has an interest and they'll get to it later kind of deal. Because I wouldn't think Christian would come in and just walk into a title match. Like, that seems not the AEW way. Now, coming in and winning something that gives you a shot, yes. But we'll see. I could also see Christian, though, being like, I really want to work with Kenny first. Because it seems like everybody is like, yeah, I would love to work with Kenny Omega.
Sure.
But then he tries to go for the stupid kill switch. And then he basically turned heel in my mind. Like, Christian Cage is a bad guy.
Yep.
Let's see. Yeah, 69 me, Don. Like, oh man, it was ridiculous.
Yeah.
The better part is that Don then did immediately fall down and cover Kenny.
Yes.
Like, I wonder if that was like talked about, because someone was like, I don't know how Eddie Kingston kept a straight face. And they're like, well, because to Eddie Kingston, he treats it as real. He was like, imagine that you were mad at somebody and they were mocking you to that degree. You wouldn't laugh. You would be beyond angry at them.
Well, sure.
But I mean, that goes to show like how serious Kingston takes it, because I'm sorry, I might have been able to hold it together while Kenny's just being a maniac, but at that moment, I probably would have laughed.
Yeah.
Like, unless I knew it was coming, I would have been laughing. We get like the women's trios match. I honestly was making a hamburger during this match. I saw the beginning where Ito did her theme song and then lightly tapped Sheeta with the microphone, I think it was. Yeah.
So I had to turn off my TV.
Yeah.
Because TNT, for whatever reason, tapped into...
Oh, yeah, when they had the overlay of the Mavericks game.
And I couldn't hear anything. And I was like, oh, this is annoying. So I just turned it off.
Yeah, it got real bad for a little while there. Where you'd hear like buzzers or crowd chants. I was like, what is going... Like, I got online to see if like I was insane. I was like, what is going on here? So Darby, Scorpio, there was like a Matt Hardy private party section. Basically, it looks like he's recruited the Butcher and the Blade and the Bunny, like package deal, obviously. But TNT title, did you turn it back on to see this match?
Nope.
Match is good. Kind of worth watching. The big thing is Scorpio Sky, I'm pretty sure is a bad guy now.
Yeah.
Because like after the match, it's over, and he I can't tell if it was a heel hook or a knee bar, but Sky is going to town on Darby's leg for sure.
Yeah.
And then finish is kind of what we've been waiting for, with something to happen. Did you like view any clips on this or anything?
So I was bummed. I went on YouTube and saw what happened. So I didn't see it live, but
right.
Yeah, I did see what happened.
So basically, MJF has his own faction now. Yeah. Inner Circle, I assume, is good guys,
I guess.
or at least in this particular conflict, the Inner Circle is good guys. They might still be like a heel faction, but between these two, they are the good guys. Sure. I don't know. So what do you think of the end result? Because it's basically MJF, FTR, and Sean Spears. And Wardlow's there, but I'm not sure if Wardlow is still MJF's employee. I'm not sure how that works.
Yeah, I don't know either. I assume Wardlow will eventually leave.
Right. Maybe he'll replace Spears. Like if Spears like loses matches or something, they kick him out, and Wardlow's the full-on replacement or something like that.
Yeah, who knows? Spears. It seems like I don't know if he is like just like okay, I don't want to do this anymore, and just leaves and like comes back whenever. I don't know. So.
Right. Well, I had read somewhere, I don't know. Like I guess he was real good friends with Brody.
Yeah.
So maybe he just wanted time off or something. Like I mean, who knows? Or personal life of others. I mean, no telling.
Yeah, sure. So I don't know. Either way, I like the faction.
Yeah. So what I did like was when they basically had like Sammy played a video where it shows like MJF where he's gonna have Hager and Proud and Powerful. They're gonna beat up Jericho, and then they sort of start to act like they're going after Jericho and Sammy, who showed back up. But they basically turn around and, like, because Jericho's talked multiple times where he's like, I watched the show back. I know things that happen. Like, do you think I'm an idiot? So it was basically like they kind of knew all along what MJF was doing, or like, you think we don't talk to each other kind of stuff. So I like that they didn't portray it as Jericho's a moron, basically. But MJF was ready for the double turn, or the double turn, I guess you would call it. And he's got this moment where he's like in the turnbuckle, like he looks all sad. He's like, I wasn't trying to take over your group. And then he like gets like a rather evil look on his face because he was like, I was building my own. And then the lights go out, FTR and Spears and Wardlow just obliterate Inner Circle. So yeah, it's pretty strong team though, really, because FTR. What's that?
They wrote off Chris Jericho.
I don't know if he's wrote off, because like people have taken the powerbomb off the stage and only been gone for a week or two. So
yeah, I think now this is just me. If I was booking it,
yeah,
I would keep Jericho off TV for a couple months.
Yeah,
and rebuild him as a character and have him come back strong.
Right.
That's just me.
Do you keep like Proud and Powerful, Hager, and Sammy around? Like, what do you do with them, or do they just go their separate ways?
I would get rid of the Inner Circle for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then when Jericho comes back, if you want him to still be a heel, bring him back to the Inner Circle.
Right. Or they, because the thing is, like, if they feud right now, like MJ, like, I'm wondering if they're going to be called the Revelation, since Tully kept saying Fear the Revelation.
Sure.
If they feud with Inner Circle right now,
yeah,
they have to win. Like, this whole thing is clearly designed to build MJF up higher, help FTR, help everyone involved. So there's no way, like, they're winning, and we kind of know that. Now, your idea of, like, having Jericho gone for a while, you have something there. Because, like, you got to assume Sammy is going to go after MJF.
I think it's going to be MJF and Sammy for a little bit. And it's going to be FTR versus Santana and Ortiz.
Which will be good.
And then Wardlow, he can do whatever with Hager there, I guess. So.
Right. Well, yeah, I think Wardlow is just going to own him, probably. The thing is, like, if they're feud, like, FTR has to... What is it?
Because I thought I read that Hager is starting to train for MMA fighting again. So.
Could be. Well, yeah, they took him out with, like, a bottle. So they used the heavy artillery to knock him out of that fight. This group is going to be pretty strong. So what my question is, so World Championship here, I would assume still Omega keeps it for a while. I feel like right now Hangman is the one who ultimately takes the belt off Omega to finish out that story, but that might be 6 months or more down the line. And then
maybe next Halloween.
Right. Like, I mean, Omega's thing's going to take a while to play out, I think, because I think he's going to end up with the Impact World title, because they got that champion versus champion match. So we'll see. But yeah, I assume Hangman, again, as it is right now, Hangman would be the most likely to knock him off. Although, I mean, it could become Darby real quick, the way things are going. But if it's Hangman or Darby, like, I would assume MJF is the second in line to be world champion, probably.
Yeah. I think you should have Kenny Omega get all the belts, get the Impact belt, and then towards the end of the year, in that storyline, have him lose.
Well, I could see where he gets all the belts, has them for a while, somehow gets into a feud with Hangman again, and then even if it's Hangman starts, like, costing him, like, basically Kenny starts losing the belts back to the rightful company, or the rightful wherever it should go, like, but not like full on screwing him out of it, because you don't want the title to look weak on the person. Like, just somehow Hangman starts the downfall. And that leads to, like, eventually where he takes the AEW title back. Or whoever it is, whoever they're going to have be the person to take it off Kenny. I'd assume that's what they do if he does actually collect a few belts from other companies.
Yep, I
Start
agree.
costing him. And then I would assume Kenny Omega disappears for a month or two after and then shows back up with a different direction.
Yep.
Let's see. All right, so that's a
we've
whole
been
bunch of...
talking a long time about wrestling.
Yeah, that was a lot. Pay-per-view
I think we
weeks
should
are
call
like
it.
Okay.
Because-
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
It's because I think we're like, what, an hour and 15 minutes now?
Hour 10.
Yeah.
So, all right. We'll end it there. I'll hit the outro. You can follow us on Twitter, although we don't really post a lot on Twitter. It's at
Instagram.
Yes. You did put a thank goodness it's Friday on like Monday or something, I think, up.
Yeah.
That tells me how the week's going.
Yes.
So, all right. Take care, everybody. We'll be back quite likely next week, I think. Probably the normal day, though. Like, well, one of the normal days, Saturday or Sunday. However that works. All right. Later.
Later.